In the United States. The fear of the unknown during divorce continues to affect millions who face divorce each year, feeling lost, confused, and alone due to the lack of resources. Divorce has been linked to emotional and financial destruction, drugs and alcohol abuse, domestic violence, child abuse, suicide, and even the murder of a spouse or a child. There are over 1 million children affected by divorce each year. Fact: when there are no real resources, people feel overwhelmed, lost, and alone. It is at those darkest hours that terrible things can happen, including suicide, homicide of a spouse or a child, or even a family member. Divorce is not only financially, emotionally, and physically devastating, but also divorce kills. I am not a lawyer, but I have had firsthand experience representing myself, just as Justina and other women here, and men I'm sure, in my own divorce case that lasted approximately 10 years in Nassau County. It was before Honorable Judge Anthony Falanga, as well as before Honorable Judge Stacey Bennett. My case dragged out over many years and cost over $700,000 in legal fees due to, in part, the frivolous motion practice by both parties' counsel and adjournments by the court month after month, year after year. I realized soon that I was not only fighting my spouse, I was fighting my lawyers. I was then fighting the judges who didn't have all of the facts, yet wrote decisions based on misrepresentations by law guardians regarding my children. It was finally after almost 10 years, after severe physical, emotional, and financial devastation, that our case was appointed a referee by the judge. It was miraculous. The referee was given an outline of issues to address with counsel and the parties by the judge. Both parties' counsel were forced to sit and present all of the real issues that were outstanding to the referee, and they were given a prompt deadline to comply with options for solutions. My husband and I had no choice but to sit down and discuss the problems, financial problems and dealing with children issues, and we had to come up with solutions. The referee would also assist to resolve issues, and a settlement would be reached. Before an unbiased referee was appointed to our case, help and resources were scarce to none. I too was lost and alone. I soon realized that so many people were in my shoes, and I knew something had to be done. And in 2013, I created a company called Divorce Prep School. What Divorce Prep School is, it provides a 3-hour educational seminar to empower and protect men, women, and children through the knowledge of certified professional panelists. Just like you guys are sitting there on a panel, the panel included former judges, lawyers, financial planners, child psychologists, mediators, life coach, family therapist, forensic accountant, and more, as people would navigate through the arduous process of divorce. They could find resources and guidance from these certified experts so that they could stay in control of their lives and not feel alone nor overwhelmed before, during, or after divorce. The problem: in Nassau County alone, there are approximately 5,000 divorces filed each year. That means there are 10,000 individuals who are in need of guidance and resources. Prolonged divorce cases cause emotional, physical, and financial devastation, and even death to litigants, their children, and their families. I know firsthand that the courts haven't done anything to fix this problem. The courts are also overwhelmed. They're backlogged, and they need help. While many people are pointing the fingers at the courts for what happened in this terrible case, and I know it's easy to point fingers, I have to say that there's a problem that needs a solution. The truth is that it's not only the judge's faults entirely. The fact is that the courts and judges need more resources of their own, and they are in need of an innovative solution that can help to ensure that something like this never happens again. What happened to me after 10 years of litigating, when the judge finally appointed a mediator, not a mediator, a referee, for us to deal with issues, that was the only time something got done on our case. That was the only time we were able to resolve issues. I am proposing, and I would like to formally and respectfully request that you, the legislative panel of representatives, collectively sign to sponsor an emergency bill to Congress that will empower and protect the lives of divorcing individuals and their families through the knowledge of experts by mandating the attendance of every divorcing litigant to a 3-hour informational seminar. By implementing a mandatory attendance of litigants, litigants would be provided substantial funding. Litigants would be able to find resources from experts. The solution is that litigant attendance would also provide substantial funding to the courts. If the issue is that there's no money for the courts to provide, to hire mediators or referees, no, it's different. I'm talking about hiring appointed referees to each case of a litigated course. Anyone who files for divorce has to not only attend a divorce prep program or something of that nature, but also needs to be appointed by the judge, a referee, and a mediator, or a mediator. My proposal will also raise over $1 million each year for each court that this program is in, and that money could be allocated to hire mediators and referees. So if the question is, what is the problem? What is the problem? Is there a solution? Do any of you up there, we're hearing all night that there are problems. Do any of you on the legislative panel have a solution in mind?
Send the money to Iran.
I think that we don't have a solution, but I have found a solution. I've worked tirelessly on this. I have a passion, I have a fire inside of me to help save lives. And I've been working on this since 2013, and I know deep down in my soul that a program that would be mandated by Congress, signed by the President of the United States, mandating every litigant to attend a 3-hour, to attend a 3-hour educational program, and also be assigned referees and mediators for their divorce cases. Things would be moved along very quickly, and additionally, a specialized task force dedicated to assisting and overseeing the hiring and progress of mediators and referees, as well as making sure that cases are getting the attention they deserve, are moving ahead. Here's the question. What is the solution? It's not abolish and arrest, because everybody up there on the panel, they're not going to abolish and arrest judges. We need solutions. People, people need help.
Can we give everyone the courtesy, please?
So I also have to just let you know that it's true that judges don't allow litigants to speak, and lawyers oftentimes do not represent the real issues that need to be addressed. And cases get adjourned and adjourned and adjourned month after month, year after year, and that's why the families fall apart. Law guardians that can be biased are appointed to cases, and it's terrible what can happen to families. It's terrible that people are dying. Spouses are killing spouses, fathers are killing their children, vice versa. It's terrible. When cases become acrimonious, this is what happens. I would like to just let you know that I have requested that this bill be sponsored by other legislators, and I had sent out many letters to, and including Nassau County Executive Laura Curran, Chief Administrative Judge Lawrence Marks, Chief Honorable Judge Janet Fiore, Chief Administrative Judge Vito Caruso, Peter King, and others. Now, I received a a response just the other day from Vito Caruso's chambers stating, thank you.
Elizabeth, if you could just kind of.
Yes,
try to
I
wrap
just
it up,
want to
because-
say thank you, that they said, thank you, Mrs. Petrakis. Thank you for your email. However, Judge Caruso would like to decline to hear anything further of how you would like to implement something into the courts to help save lives. So that, to me, is very disturbing. And I would like to ask again, respectfully request that you all, as a panel, collectively sign to sponsor an emergency bill that would empower and protect the lives of divorcing litigants. And I would like for everyone here in the public to sign a petition.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yvette Stark?
Hi, I don't have anything officially prepared, but it's ironic that I'm following the last speaker. I just want to say that the family and the divorce courts involving CPS and every other known entity, they operate with judges in these so-called family courts. They're really admiralty courts, and these are administrators. They're not even judges with jurisdiction. They violate the rights of the children in the courts and myself as an adult just coming out of a 10-year divorce. However, I was sued for $9 million last week for slandering my lawyer ex-spouse, part of the inside crowd. So in reference to anything involving family court and divorce court, I think both of these courts needs to be killed, and all of the people working for them need to go to jail because, and I will tell you why, because these are incentivized courts to weaponize children with parents. That's number one. And I just want to say, and I'm in solidarity with many people that are here, because I have also gone to the congressional hearing, and I have also marched with many different groups in Washington, D.C., the Million Parent March, the Punished for Protection group that's here, and also the For the Children people, as well as the American Families and the American Parents March. I have been to Charles Schumer's office with 10 people and met with his assistants and talked about child protective services and divorce court, because you know what? They are two sides. They are the same side, they're two sides of the same coin. And the same abuses and the same deprivation of rights and the same twisting intrinsically of the facts that happen extrinsically and intrinsically. Intrinsically, everything is twisted, so the facts are wrong. And then the court uses these facts extrinsically to give you no money, or to force the sale of your home, or to take your children away from you and put them with abusive parents who are like psychotic and are not being evaluated properly by Child Protective Services. I was forced to go to a referee trial, and I have a traumatic brain injury. And I have many physical problems. I walk with a walker. And I'm scheduled to hopefully have surgery in a week on my back and even on my shoulder. But I have a lawyer spouse who's threatening to throw me out of my house because my judge, Matthew Cooper in New York City, along with Janet DeFiore, who knows me very well because I wrote to her for many years, it is threatening to throw me out of my house. Before I go, I just want to say two things, and I want to read some judges and lawyers' names. First of all, the federal law, the U.S. Code titled 18, Section 242, very clearly states that any public official who violates anyone's rights is committing a felony and should go to prison for up to a life term or receive the death penalty, depending on the depending on the circumstances. And then I don't know if there is a record here or not, but I definitely want these names put on the record. In 2016, I wrote letters about Child Protective Service and divorce court. Okay, I wrote letters to Loretta Lynch, who was the Attorney General of the United States at that time, Preet Bharara, who's now teaching at NYU, the U.S. Attorney's Office from the Southern District of New York, the Honorable Andrew Cuomo, Governor of New York State, who needs to be removed, James Comey, Director of the FBI headquarters, who's involved in some of this impeachment stuff with Trump, Eric T. Schneiderman, Esquire, who was the New York State Attorney General and seemed to be abusing women or had some issues with some violence towards women. Cyrus R. Vance, who was the New York County District Attorney's Office. David Crowley, who was the Assistant District Attorney. Senator Brad Hoylman, who is from my district in Greenwich Village in New York City. Liz Kruger, Velmonte Montgomery, and Letitia James, who I'm going to serve on Friday in support of Punish for Protecting. The public, she was the city public advocate then. Now she's the Attorney General. Wait till I serve these papers on Friday. Congressman Gerald Nadler. And I had a CC go to Council Member Corey Johnson in District 3, who is in Chelsea, just next to Greenwich Village, who I know personally. I know many of these people personally because I don't just live in my area. I protest. I show up at town meetings. I'm very involved with seniors in my community, and I'm just appalled by the continuation of the abuse and the corruption and the violence of the Child Protective Service system, the family courts, and divorce courts. And I just want to read, and I'm almost done. I just need to read a few more people's names on the record. Matthew Cooper is the I don't give these people any honorable names, okay? It's Matthew Cooper. He's an administrator judge in an admiralty court. Jennifer Schechter, who just got like a promotion to the Supreme Court, who held a $6 million slander suit against me from my husband, a lawyer, and it was dismissed, okay? But she held it for a year and a half. So the referee judge could use that against me, against all my Facebook information, going to court with many of the people that are here. And I told the truth, okay? She dismissed it because the corruption is the truth. Whatever this panel is presenting is mumbo jumbo. Half of you probably need to go to jail. I don't know how many people on this panel are pedophiles. A lot of the information here and the underlying system of business is about pedophilia, and it is about trafficking children, and it is about human abuse, not just for children but for the adults.
Okay.
So, no, I want to read. You will let me read these names because these are your judges that run your courts. Okay? Deborah Kaplan, who oversees the clerk of the court and ignored all my letters for all the attorneys and judges' oaths of office and their bonds. Peter Moulton, Lawrence Marks, referee Marilyn Sugarman, she should be shot. Janet DeFiore ignored me for so many years. Matthew Cooper again. I want to say that my husband, Richard Katz, needs to be added here. Jeffrey R. Schissel, his accountant. I've not included bankers, by the way. These are just lawyers. Jonathan Andrew Rappaport, Preston Avrams Leshings, Bill Vassilides, he's out of Astoria. Michael P. Joseph, who is my husband's ex-lawyer. Richard Katz again, my husband. Tim Corbo, the clerk of Matthew Cooper. All the clerks need to be evaluated. They're all trading bonds without our permission, and all of our cases are being traded in the courtroom for Chris, For the
Okay.
for the judges,
Excuse me.
CRIS, they're private retirement systems. That's why we're held hostage for 10 years, because they're trading, they're bonding our cases. They're bonding our slavery and our labor.
Okay.
So they make money.
Yvette,
I'm not done. Judges.
Excuse me.
Judges retire with $7 million, $5 million. Nobody knows about it. They're not taxed by the IRS. Are you any of those judges? I'm wondering. That's all I have to say.
Sarah Dipper,
Enforce the law, prosecute crooked judges. They're the heads.
Sarah Dipper. Sarah's up, and I think there's 8 more after Sarah. Okay. All right, do you need a break now? You want a break now? All right, Sarah, can you just, we need to give our court reporter just a moment, a few minutes. So
Absolutely,
if
no
you just
problem.
wait.
No problem, thank you.
Just don't think we're coming right back. Don't think we're disappearing.